dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom.
My dear students, today we are going to continue with the topic the administration of the Swaraj. In the first part of this topic, we people have learnt about Ashtapradhan Mandal, that is Council of 8 Ministers, then the policy of Shivaji Maharaj regarding agriculture, village economy of that period. In that we learnt about the concept of Baluta, then trade and business, the military organization, and the intelligence department. In the Ashtapadhan Mandal of Shivaji Maharaj, we learned that Moro Trimbak Pingle was Pradhan, Ramchandra Nilkant Muzumdar was Amatya, then Annaji Datto Sachiv, Dattaji Trimbak Waknis Mantri, हम्बीर राव मोहिते सेनापति, रामचंद्र त्रिम्बक डबीर सुमंत, नीराजी रावजी न्यायाधीश, and Moreshwar Pandit Rao, and also the work which was given in our textbook. Then the policy regarding agriculture, in that we learned that how Shivaji Maharaj implemented number of policies for the betterment of peasants, for the betterment of farmers, and Maharaj had instructed his officers to provide peasants with bullocks, plows, and good seeds for sowing. Then, in the village economy of that period, concept of baluta, where farmers gave a definite share from their produce to artisans. Then, in trade and business, one best example about the salt industry, how Shivaji Maharaj protected the salt industry in Kokang by increasing revenue on the salt of the Portuguese. Then in military organization, the two concepts, infantry and the cavalry, and in intelligence department, role of Baherji Naik. Now in today's part we are going to study about the forts, sea forts, navy, and the concern of Shivaji Maharaj for the welfare of his subjects. So here on the screen you can see the point forts or the forts of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. When we talk about the medieval Indian history, then the forts were of great importance. Possession of a fort made it possible to keep eye on the surrounding area. Forts were of great importance in the medieval age, and possession of a fort made it possible to keep an eye on the surrounding area. Why forts were important? अगर किसी किंग के पास कोई एक पर्टिकुलर फोर्ट है तो वहाँ से उस पूरी टेरिटरी पे ध्यान रखने के लिए, नज़र रखने के लिए वो फोर्ट काम में आता था. एंड दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ गिवन हियर, पोजेशन ऑफ अ फोर्ट मेड इट पॉसिबल टू कीप एन आई ऑन द सराउंडिंग एरिया in case of foreign invasion. Now the second importance of forts, in case of foreign invasion, it was possible to protect the people taking shelter in the fort. For example, suppose this is a fort प्रतापगढ़, और यहाँ पे आजू बाजू में जितने भी गांव है, अगर कोई फॉरेन इन्वेजन होता है, कोई हमला होता है, तो वहाँ के गांव के लोगों को फोर्ट में एंट्री दी जाती थी जब तक वो युद्ध समाप्त नहीं होता था. तो वो शेल्टर वहाँ पर ले सकते थे. दैट इज़ वाई ऑल्सो फोर्ट वर वेरी important, not only for keeping an eye on the surrounding area but to protect the people in the Swaraj, or to protect the people in any kingdom or in any rule. Now the next thing, it was possible to stock up the fort with food grains, with war materials, ammunition, and military garrison. So forts were not only to show the power but to store the food grains. जैसे हमने पहले भी देखा है कि कहीं पे डॉट अगर आ जाता है, अकाल पड़ जाता है, बारिश नहीं होती है या फिर बारिश बहुत ज़्यादा होती है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट द क्रॉप्स इन द फील्ड वर नॉट गुड, अगर वो अच्छे नहीं होते थे तो साल के लिए, 2 साल के लिए फूड ग्रेन्स जो है वो फोर्ट में स्टोर करके रखे जाते थे. नॉट ओनली दिस बट द वॉर मटेरियल जो आने वाले युद्ध के लिए लग सकता था, एम्यूनिशन एंड मिलिट्री गैरिजन, ये सारी चीज़ें एक जगह पर रखने की जगह फोर्ट हुआ करते थे, एंड दैट इज वाई फोर्ट्स वर ऑफ ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंस इन द मेडिवल एज. नेक्स्ट वन, the importance of forts in the foundation of Swaraj is well stated in the Ajnapatra. This kingdom was created by the late revered and exalted majesty forts alone. ये जो kingdom बना है वो सिर्फ forts की वजह से बना है. The description of the building of forts by Shivaji Maharaj in the treatise Buddha Bhushan composed by Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj is remarkable. What he wrote in the Buddha Bhushan नाम का एक बुक जो है वो संभाजी महाराज ने लिखा, और उसमें वो लिखते हैं शिवाजी महाराज built many impenetrable forts on the ridge of plateaus in the Sahyadri mountain range in many places from Karnataka up to Bagalan. The intention behind it was to protect this earth. ये फोर्ट बनाने का रीजन क्या था? टू प्रोटेक्ट दिस अर्थ. अंडर हिज सक्सेसफुल लीडरशिप दिस फोर्ट्स वर बिल्ट फ्रॉम द बैंक्स ऑफ द रिवर कृष्णा अप टू द सी इन ऑल द 4 डायरेक्शंस. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ सह्याद्री की जो प्लाट्यूज थे वहीं पर फोर्ट बनाए, बल्कि हर दिशा में शिवाजी महाराज ने फोर्ट बनाए. इन द रायरी फोर्ट राजे छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज remained on the forefront among all kings and was victorious. So the role of the forts in building the Swaraj was very important. It was like a companion of Shivaji Maharaj, or we can say it was like the soldier of Shivaji Maharaj. There were about 300 forts in the Swaraj. How many? 300. Where it was started with the first fort Torna, and now in the Swaraj there were 300 forts. Maharaj spent a considerable amount of money on the building and repairs of these forts. अब इसमें से कुछ फोर्ट्स जो थे वो उन्होंने जीत लिए थे, कुछ फोर्ट्स थे जो उन्होंने खुद बनवाए थे. अब इतना पैसा उन्होंने क्यों लगाया इन फोर्ट्स पे? बिकॉज forts were of great importance in the medieval age, and the possession of a fort made it possible to keep an eye on the surrounding area. If there was any foreign invasion, then it was possible to protect the people taking shelter in the fort. Now, not only this, but because of the fort, it was possible to stock the fort with food grains, war materials, ammunition, and military garrison. That's why Maharaj spent a considerable amount of money on the building and repairs of these forts. He built hill forts like Pratapgarh, Pavangarh, and Rajgarh. There was a Killedar, a subnis, and a Karkhanis on every fort. There was an officer called Karkhanis to look after the storage of food grains and the maintenance of war material on the fort. So people also were there to look after the things on the fort, like administration of the Swaraj. People learned about the अष्टप्रधान मंडल. वैसे ही अलग अलग कामों के लिए अलग अलग लोग रखे हुए थे और उनको वही काम सौंपा गया था. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कारखानीस, who looked after the storage of food grains and the maintenance of war material on the fort. Now here on the screen you can see the sea forts also: Sindhudurg, Murud Janjira, then Rajgarh, Purandar, Sinhagढ़, शिवनेरी जहाँ पे शिवाजी महाराज का जन्म हुआ. Now when we talk about the sea forts, Maharaj knew the importance of sea forts too. One of the sea forts that he built was Sindhudurg, this one, at Malwan, and it is an excellent sea fort. To give strength to the construction of the fort, 5 khandis of lead was poured into its foundation. A sea fort called Padmadurg was built in front of Rajapuri in order to counter the Siddhi power. अब ये सी फोर्ट्स बनाना भी बहुत ज़रूरी था, क्योंकि बाहर से जितने भी इन्वेजन होते थे, लोग आते थे, उनको रोकने के लिए वह स्वराज में ना घुस पाए, इसलिए उनको पानी में ही अंदर ही रोकना है. इसीलिए ये सी फोर्ट शिवाजी महाराज ने बनाए. अबाउट दिस फोर्ट, महाराज हैज सेड in a letter that by constructing Padmadurg he had set up another Rajapuri to overshadow the Rajapuri of the Siddhi. So not only the forts which were on land, but the forts in the water also played very important role in the Swaraj. Now when we talk about the strength, then you can see the forts on the screen. And the next point is navy. We know today navy is the one of the best navy in the world, but शिवाजी महाराज laid the foundation of the Indian Navy और उन्हें फादर ऑफ इंडियन नेवी कहा जाता है. उनके पहले समुंदर में जाना पाप माना जाता था तो कोई नहीं जाता था, बट शिवाजी महाराज broke all the superstitious things and he jumped into the sea and built number of sea forts there. So enemies on the west coast of India, the Portuguese of Goa, the Siddhi of Janjira and the British factors of Surat and Rajapur created obstacles in the work of expanding Swaraj. Enemies on the west coast of India were the Portuguese. West coast पे कौन थे? Portuguese थे. The Siddhis of Janjira, Janjira में Siddhis थे, and the British factors of Surat and Rajapur. इन सब से स्वराज को धोखा था. एक्सपांडिंग करने में, स्वराज बढ़ाने में वो लोग ऑब्स्टेकल्स की तरह थे. इट वॉज नेसेसरी टू कर्ब देयर एक्टिविटीज एंड टू प्रोटेक्ट द वेस्ट कोस्ट, एंड फॉर दिस पर्पज महाराज रेज्ड अ नेवी. He also realized the importance of sea forts and realized that the one who has a navy controls the sea. That's why you can say Maharaj had great foresight. One of the sea forts that he built was the sea fort of Sindhudurg at Malvan. About that we people already learnt. Here you can see the images, Gurab and Galpat. There were 400 ships of various kinds in the navy. छोटी बड़ी या लड़ने के लिए अलग अलग तरह से काम करने वाली ऐसी 400 ships थी. They included battleships like the Gurab and Galbat, you can see here, and one more, Pal. Ships were built in the creek of Kalyan Bhivandi, Vijayadurg and Malwan. तो शिप्स को बिल्ड करने की जगह भी अलग अलग थी. शिप्स वर बिल्ट एट द क्रीक ऑफ कल्याण भिवंडी, देन विजयदुर्ग एंड मालवन. नाउ इन दिस मयंक भंडारी एंड दौलत खान वर द चीफ नेवल कमांडर्स. जैसे when we learnt about intelligence department, there Bahirji Naik played very important role. Then we talk about the navy. Mayank Bhandari and Daulat Khan played very important role in building and in maintaining the navy of the Swaraj. So each and everyone in the Swaraj played his role very very carefully, and that's why today we are studying about the Swaraj. Shivaji was the first Indian king. Shivaji Maharaj was the first Indian king to cultivate navy in addition to acquiring land. He had 300 shipyards, hundreds of frigates and many sea forts. He controlled over 300 miles of coastline. Now this is not a simple thing, not only land but he controlled over 300 miles of coastline. स्वराज में 300 miles की coastline भी include थी. And that is why he is known as father of the Indian Navy. He was the Shivaji Maharaj who laid the foundation of Indian Navy, or we can say who started the Navy. And now the next point, concern for the welfare of its subjects. And this is the answer why we are studying about Shivaji Maharaj, why Swaraj became the unique or different than other kings and other kingdoms, because he always cared for his wrath. Maharaj did not work only with the limited ambition of conquering enemy territories and establishing dominance like other things. जैसे कई और राजा थे कि एक के बाद एक ऐसे एक एक टेरिटरी जीतना है. दैट वाज नॉट द फाइनल एम और ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द शिवाजी महाराज. It was started for the betterment of people. It was started for the welfare of the Rayat. How Jizamata and Shahaji Raje guided the Shivaji Maharaj and shown him the path. On that path, Shivaji Maharaj was continuously going. That is what is the concern for the welfare of his subjects. His main objective was to make his subjects independent. Again, the word is very important. His main objective was to make his subjects independent. He was aware that if his subjects were to really get the joy of freedom, it was necessary to have disciplined administration, take comprehensive care of people's welfare, and protect the conquered territories. The defense of the country, Swaraj, should be given highest priority through a network of well garrisoned land and marine forts, a strong army, and a navy in view of peculiar geographical features of Maharashtra, especially Konkan region. This was the best means of protecting the land from hostile powers. All posts were to be filled on the basis of merit, not heredity, caste, or religion. Revenue collection was to be direct, that is, by the state through its own agencies and departments and through middlemen of any type. During war and course of raids in the enemy territory, the women, children, and religious places were not suffer any harm or damage. And because of all these things, Shivaji Maharaj was in the heart of the people, not only of his kingdom or not only in the Swaraj, but in enemies' territory also. People loved him so much. People, uh, there was, we can say, mouth publicity on the large scale about his value, about his skills, and his love for his wrath. So Maharaj was not merely a ruler, he was a watchful administrator who cared for his people's welfare, जो उस वक्त बहुत कम दिखाई देता था. And that is why he is different. And today we are talking about the Swaraj and about the Shivaji Maharaj. So Maharaj was not merely a ruler, वो एक सिर्फ राजा नहीं थे, एक रूल करने वाले रूलर नहीं थे. ही वॉज अ वॉचफुल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर हु केयर्ड फॉर हिज पीपल्स वेलफेयर. And this is clearly seen in his administration of the state, because he refused to give jagirs and gifts. He, instead of giving that, he started payments, handsome salaries, the word used in our lesson. Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications.
So my dear ones, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.